Excellencies, Head of States and Governments, Honorable Ministers, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. It's a great honor for me to address the Sustainability Impact Forum, a platform that embodies the very essence of our collective responsibility to transform sustainability into concrete and measurable impact. Allow me, first of all, to express my sincere gratitude to Her Excellency, the Minister of Climate Change and Environment of the United Arab Emirates, for this kind invitation and for the visionary leadership demonstrated by the United Arab Emirates in advancing sustainability. Senegal is deeply honored by this partnership and fully committed to working alongside the United Arab Emirates in the co-organization of the United Nations Water Conference in 2026. This collaboration reflects a shared conviction that water lies at the heart of our collective future. Ladies and gentlemen, it is important to underscore that water is not simply a resource. It is a connector. It connects people to ecosystems, present realities to future possibilities, and development to peace and security. Water underpins health, food systems, energy, education, and social stability. It is therefore not a sectoral issue, but a cornerstone of governance and human security. Today, the global water crisis strengthens progress across the world. Scarcity, pollution, and climate stress are already fueling inequality, fragility, and forced displacement. Billions of people still lack safe access to water and sanitation, undermining the achievement of SDG 6 and more broadly, the 2030 agenda. It is in this context that Senegal and the United Arab Emirates will co-organize the United Nations Water Conference in 2026 in Abu Dhabi. This conference offers a unique global platform to accelerate universal access to water and sanitation while contributing to peace, cooperation, and global security. The preparatory process, notably the recent high-level preparatory meeting held in Dakar last week, has already set a clear direction through 6 interactive dialogues, from water to people and prosperity to cooperation and investment, outlining a roadmap firmly focused on implementation and tangible actions on the ground rather than on mere declaration. Excellencies, allow me to highlight 4 strategic imperatives. First, water as a driver from reality to the future. Managing water today means designing the world of tomorrow. The choices we make will determine economic competitiveness, climate resilience, and social cohesion. In Senegal, our national vision, the Vision Senegal 2050, placed water at the heart of the territorial development and climate adaptation. It is an absolute priority for our government. The second, technology as a force multiplier. Innovation enables us to better manage the interdependencies between water, energy, food, and ecosystems. Digital systems, data-driven planning, and smart infrastructures amplify impact, reduce losses, and strengthen resilience, provided they serve both people and the nature. Third, partnerships as bridge between nations and people. Water knows no borders. Shared basins and aquifers requires cooperation, dialogue, and trust. Water diplomacy must therefore be strengthened as a tool of preventive diplomacy, positioning water not as a source of tension, but as a vector of peace and solidarity. Fourth, water as a great connector of global agendas. Climate, biodiversity, oceans, energy, food, and finance are deeply interconnected. Water is a common thread that binds them together. Sustainable development will only succeed if our system of governance fully reflects this reality. Ladies and gentlemen, the Sustainability Impact Forum reminds us that impact emerges where political leadership, responsible finance, and innovation converge. The United Nations Water Conference in 2026 must be the moment when these convergences translate into concrete actions, accelerating universal access to water while strengthening peace, stability, and global security. Let us act together, ladies and gentlemen, with ambition and pragmatism by developing innovative nexuses that place humanity on the better trajectory of sustainable economic and social development. Let us transform our commitment into results, our partnerships into progress, and water into a source of life, dignity, and peace. Because the way we govern water today will determine the prosperity and stability of our world tomorrow. I thank you. Assalamu alaikum and shukran.
Good afternoon. Excellencies, distinguished guests, esteemed partners, respected policymakers, and friends from around the world. It is indeed my honor and privilege to be here, and I want to thank the government of the UAE for your warm hospitality and, most importantly, bringing us together for this important summit. We gather at a pivotal moment, united by a common purpose: to safeguard water, the foundation of all life, and our ecosystems. You know, it underpins food security, public health, and stability. For generations in Palau, we have understood water as a sacred trust. Our ancestors established the practice of bul, a customary moratorium placed on harvesting certain resources to allow nature to recover. This principle of stewardship reflects a simple but powerful belief: what we take today must not compromise tomorrow. Water is not something we own, it is something we protect and pass on. And while Palau's cultural connection to water is unique, the challenges we face, I think, are shared worldwide. And even though I come from, I like to say, a big ocean state, and all you can see is water all around us, it's salt water. So climate change, population growth, land use pressures, and aging infrastructure are all testing water security everywhere. And Palau stands with all nations confronting these shared realities. You know, back in 2016, Palau experienced the most severe drought in our short modern history. A country where on an average month we have 30 to 50 centimeters of rain, suddenly lost that. Many of our rivers dried up and our reservoirs ran dry. A state of emergency was declared and water was rationed. Families faced uncertainty and our tourism sector suffered greatly. But one thing that this crisis revealed was our vulnerability and how we need to build resilience. We mobilized emergency responses, including drilling wells, trucking water to communities, repairing leaks, and trying to ensure that we have equitable distribution. I think more importantly, the drought taught us lasting lessons, and most importantly, the cost of delayed preparation, the value of community solidarity, and the necessity of building systems that can withstand future shocks. For us, the drought became a turning point. We strengthened protections for our watersheds and forests, worked with communities on land use planning, expanded water storage and catchment systems on our small islands that don't have rivers, and modernized our water systems. We tried to shift from reactive crisis management to proactive resilience. We are investing in leak detection, digital monitoring, and infrastructure upgrades, ensuring that every drop counts. These actions have increased resilience and improved reliability for our people, but there's still more to be done. our progress wouldn't have been possible without strong partnerships that have contributed expertise, financing, and most importantly, innovation. These collaborations demonstrate the power of coordinated action and shared responsibility in delivering sustainable solutions. Sustainable water systems require sound governance and financial stability. And a lot of times it's hard for us at home to help our people understand that it costs money to give you water, and you need to share in the responsibility of paying for it so that we can continue to provide you water. But we've worked with our parliament painfully to have reforms to help ensure that we have a reliable water system. In Palau, we have legends that often remind us of how we should behave, or they teach us lessons. And one is about the Gadung Labuth and the Dangarenga Labuth. If we translate it literally into English, it's about the good grasshopper and the bad grasshopper. And one day, these two boys, sons, were preparing for a fishing trip, and their father reminded them, when you go out fishing, you have to be careful, because if the war canoes show up, they will attack you and you may get killed. So take lots of baskets with you. And the purpose for the baskets were, if they were chased, throw the baskets in the water, throw many of them, and then swim under them and hide. And the warriors, you'll be safe. They'll paddle on. Well, sure enough, while they were out fishing, the war canoe showed up. And the war canoe began chasing them, and they started throwing the baskets over the water. And the good grasshopper jumped in the water and hid under one of the baskets. But the other grasshopper, you would say the bad grasshopper, he decided that he could outrun the war canoe. Well, the reality is he couldn't outrun the war canoe, and he was lost. And I think this story reminds us that we not only should listen to science and good advice and take action. We can't just ignore the realities. And I think sometimes some of us think, well, we can just ignore climate change and our problems will be solved. But the reality, it is the #1 challenge that we have when it comes to water. So let us commit to partnership, innovation, and shared responsibility, because together we can ensure a water-secure, resilient future for not only Palau, but all our communities that we are so trying to help. Surang, thank you. Shukran.
Thank you, President Webs, for this insightful remarks. We now move to our next main address by His Excellency Bakyt Torobaev, Deputy Chairman of Cabinet and Minister of Water Resources and Agriculture in Kyrgyzstan Republic.
Уважаемые дамы и господа, прежде всего позвольте выразить искреннюю признательность правительству Объединенных Арабских Эмиратов и Министерству по вопросам изменения климата и окружающей среды за организацию этой важной встречи. Подобные международные площадки создают пространство доверия и сотрудничества, предоставляя возможность для всестороннего обсуждения вопроса эффективного использования водных ресурсов. Вода является основой жизнеустойчивого развития, продовольственной и энергетической безопасности, а также внешним фактором социальной и экономической стабильности. Сегодня риски, связанные с водными ресурсами в условиях изменения климата, стали одним из ключевых элементов государственного управления и региональной безопасности. Для стран Центральной Азии эффективное использование водных ресурсов имеет как национальное и так региональное значение. Мы все чаще сталкиваемся с экстремальными гидрологическими явлениями, дефицитом воды, наводнениями, таянием ледников, снижением уровня воды в реках и озерах. С 1854 года уровень озера нашего Иссыкуля Кыргызской республики снизился на 14 метров, а объем воды уменьшился на 85 миллиардов кубических метров. Если в 1950 году, 1960-х годах в озеро впадало 100-110 рек, то сегодня их осталось лишь 30-35 рек. Дальнейшее снижение уровня воды может привести к масштабному экологическому и социально-экономическому кризису. Именно поэтому тема сегодняшнего обсуждения «Партнерство ради устойчивого водного будущего» является для нас особенно актуальной. Мы должны перейти от фрагментарных и краткосрочных мер к комплексным и долгосрочным подходам, основанным на инвестициях и согласованных решениях. Международное сотрудничество должно строиться на принципах взаимной выгоды, научно обоснованных подходах и строгом соблюдении экологических требований. В настоящее время особую значимость приобретает интеграция вопросов воды, климата, биоразнообразия. Вода является связующим элементом между адаптацией к изменению климата, сохранением экосистемы и устойчивым экономическим развитием. Инвестирование в водные системы и их развитие – это инвестиции в климатическую устойчивость, здоровье населения и будущее экономики. В этой связи крайне важно, чтобы государственные институты создавали благоприятные условия для привлечения долгосрочных инвестиций в водный сектор. Рекомендации, представленные в докладе Всемирного банка по вопросам климата и развития, полностью соответствуют национальным приоритетам Кыргызской республики. В частности, речь идет о повышении эффективности ирригации, сокращении потерь воды, а также создании дополнительных запасов поверхностных и подземных вод. Мы рассматриваем данные направления как практическую основу для углубления партнерства и реализации совместных проектов. Оценка уровня водного стресса вызывает серьезную обеспокоенность. В сельскохозяйственном секторе он составляет 3,3 балла, в промышленности 3,19 баллов, а в социальном секторе 3,17 баллов. Эти показатели наглядно демонстрируют, что дефицит воды является стратегической и экологической угрозой национального и регионального масштаба. Масштаб проблемы подтверждается и данными Всемирного института ресурсов. Согласно этим оценкам, Кыргызстан с показателем 3,28 балла относится к зоне высокого водного стресса и в региональном сравнении приближается к кризисному уровню. Особую тревогу вызывает сокращение ледников, уменьшение речного стока и роста водопотребления. Что это означает для нашей страны? Во-первых, резко возрастает риск системного кризиса, способного повлиять на продовольственную безопасность, энергетику и социальную стабильность. Во-вторых, затягивание реформ в водном секторе может существенно ограничить социально-экономическое развитие. Глобальные и региональные тенденции лишь усиливают обеспокоенность. Согласно анализу базы данных Аквастат, опубликованной ФАО за последние 10 лет, объем пресной воды на душу населения в мире сократился на 7%, а в Центральной Азии на 12% с 2015 года. Это одна из самых тревожных тенденций в мире. В Центральной Азии уровень водного стресса превышает 70%, при этом 82% доступных водных ресурсов используются в сельском хозяйстве. Для сравнения, средний мировой уровень водного стресса составляет 18%, в Северной Африке 121%, Южной Азии 76,7%, в Центральной Азии 70,2%, в Западной Азии 65,1%. Это значительно превышает безопасные пределы. Если мы не решим водную проблему сегодня, завтра ее последствия отразятся на экономике, обществе и будущих поколениях. Именно поэтому решения, принимаемые сегодня, должны стать основой завтрашней устойчивости. Я убежден, что данная площадка призовет все стороны к совместным решениям, конкретным действиям и общей ответственности. В завершение хотел подчеркнуть, мы призываем рассматривать понятие «устойчивое водное будущее» не как лозунг, а как практическое направление действий, и Кыргызстан готов быть надежным партнером в этом процессе. Благодарю за внимание. Большое спасибо.
Excellencies, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, Salam alaikum. I express my warmest thanks to the government of the United Arab Emirates for convening this important discussion on water partnerships on the margins of the World Government Forum. I am grateful to Her Excellency Dr. Amna Al-Dahak for her leadership and for invitation to contribute to this high-level water program. Thank you. As we move toward the UN Water Conference 2026 in Abu Dhabi, this engagement contributes to advancing cooperation on water, climate resilience, and sustainable development. Water is a vital element for human life and the existence of our planet. Growing population, increasing demand for water, and climate change pose direct impact on water resources sustainability. Today, water deficiency already affects every continent. Water scarcity is disrupting agriculture, threatening livelihoods and undermining health across regions. The climate crisis is increasingly disrupting the global hydrological cycle. We are witnessing more frequent floods and droughts, sometimes alternating within the same countries. This impacts place growing pressure on people, food systems, economies, and biodiversity. These challenges are shared among countries around the world. More than half of the world's population lives in transboundary river basins, lakes, and aquifers, making cooperation not optional but essential. Climate impacts on water cannot be addressed in isolation or within national borders alone. Each country must be willing to collaborate beyond its borders with courage and responsibility. Without decisive action, these challenges will intensify. United Nations warns that by 2050, more than 5 billion people worldwide could face water stress, with serious implications for food security, development, and stability. That will mean more irrigation systems breaking down and more glacier streams drying up. Water access risks holding back our sustainable development. These are challenges that Azerbaijan understands very well. Over the past 10 years, we have lost almost 10% of our glaciers. Our river levels are falling, and the Caspian Sea, the world's largest inland body of water, continues to decline. As a downstream country, Azerbaijan is particularly exposed to changes in transboundary river flows originating beyond its borders. In many cases, limited willingness among upstream countries to cooperate further complicates efforts toward coordinated and sustainable water management. This is not unique to Azerbaijan. It is a common challenge faced by downstream countries across regions. For closed water bodies such as the Caspian Sea, whose balance depends largely on the inflowing rivers, effective river basin management is essential. This requires transboundary cooperation and strong, sustainable water governance at the national level. At COP29 in Baku, we launched the COP29 Declaration on Water for Climate Action as part of our action agenda. We also created the Baku Dialogue on Water for Climate Action to ensure COP-to-COP continuity and regional cooperation. We welcome the strong emphasis on coherence and continuity reflected in today's discussions. This panel offers an opportunity to reflect on how existing initiatives, including the Baku Dialogue, can support coherence between upcoming COPs and UN Water Conference in 2026. Water is too important to fall in and out of international agenda, and we cannot deliver effective policies on water without cooperating across borders and water basins. We should seriously consider the creation of a strong, unified United Nations body on water, with a mandate to enhance coordination, coherence, and effectiveness of global water action. We encourage all partners and stakeholders to engage actively and to translate dialogue into coordinated action. I thank you.